I'm going to do it myself today. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll permit me, Sheriff McAndrew is going to participate by phone. He's tied to his office on something. In case none of you are aware, I'm demonstrating my expertise with these phones. Thank God they're alphabetical. You picking this up?
Hi, Judge.
Sheriff, how are you? You're on speaker?
Hold on, Judge, let me call you right back. I gotta go on speaker, hold on.
He's even more proficient than I am. Okay. All set?
Okay, Judge.
Okay. All right, we called the meeting to order and we said the Pledge of Allegiance. So I assume everybody's had an opportunity to review the minutes from the May meeting that were circulated in advance of today's meeting. So I will entertain a motion to waive the formal reading and adopt the minutes of the May meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved from the May meeting. Anybody from the public like to address the board on agenda items only at this point? Okay, no one's stepping forward, so we'll move forward with our motions. First motion on the agenda is a motion to approve all current payables for the Community Corrections Center and the prison. Again, these were all circulated in advance of today's meeting, so I trust everybody's had an opportunity to review them. And if so, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody, all the ayes have it, no nays. So the current payables for the Community Corrections Center and the prison are approved. Next motion on the agenda is a motion to review and recommend approval of the amendment to the agreement with Amarmark Correctional Services, LLC. We also have with us Chief of Staff Jeffers and Mr. David Bolzoni, who is all things financial for the county. Is that a little too broad for you, or are you okay with that?
No, that covers it.
Okay. So to address that, so would one of you like to approach the podium? Or both?
We all looked at the contract and the amendment, Your Honor, and after Mr. Bolzoni went through the finances of it, it makes a lot of sense to continue with the 1 year amendment, or 1 year of the amendment for the 1 year extension, and then put the RFP out for next year because of the savings that would be accomplished in the upcoming budget. That's you.
So everyone received a memorandum which really outlines the recommendation for extending the contract with Amarmark for 1 year. I'll go to the latter part of the memorandum just to recognize some considerations in the extension of the contract for a year. The current unit cost structure compares favorably to our peer counties, and there was a listing of the itemized cost that's associated with the same delivery of service for our peer counties. We were the lowest in that group. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics measure of one-year CPI for food, which is the measure that these companies use in order to create their cost structure, shows an increase, an inflationary increase of 2.9%. So between 2.9 and the food away from home, which is a more specific measure of 3.8, is probably indicative of what an increase might be. And we saw that with the initial Amarmark proposal. When they came back to us and had asked for an extension of the contract, they came back with an increase that was reflective of those inflationary measures. They since had changed that because of the request for proposal process, which was favorable to the county. The calculations that were used by the county in reference to total cost were based on a prisoner count of 633, which I had gotten from the warden. And if you include staff meals, which are the two principal measures of cost within that line item, it remains favorable to budget. And that cost consistency would be helpful to us when constructing the 2025 budget. Normally, when you're constructing line items with a budget, especially with measures that are as sizable as this, you're building in an inflationary cost increase, whether it's an existing contract or a new contract. This would be one of the few situations where we'd actually have some consistency in cost. Those are the reasons for the recommendation to continue. If it was more than 1 year, maybe the recommendation wouldn't be quite as strong. Since it's 1 year, we're still going out request for proposal next year anyway. So that would be my recommendation. That's the rationale for it.
Anybody have any questions of Mr. Bolzoni?
The only question I have is, so what you're saying is the cost is staying the same as it is
Consistent.
this year?
Correct.
Consistent.
And you could see it from the unit cost. The unit costs remain the same.
Okay. How about, the only thing I was confused on then, snacks. So current pricing is $1.25. When you say post RFP publication, that's what they had submitted, they responded to the RFP, is that?
That's correct. But what I looked at were the two principal costs that were
Okay.
associated. So keep in mind when you look at the budget numbers, which I'd indicated, so the food service budget for this year is 1.4 million. When you look at staff meals and prisoner meals, you've got 953,000 based on 633 inmates, plus staff meals of 216,000. That is the line item.
Okay.
The rest of those are relatively minor. So even though there are adjustments in there, they're not going to really impact the principal cost.
Okay. Warden, could you just talk about how Amarmark has been in terms of, the food? And I know we got a letter from a woman. Can you just talk about what your experience is with Amarmark?
Right now, or do you want me to?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were sitting behind it.
I was-
Yeah, no, if you could do it right now, that'd be great.
We've had Amarmark for a number of years. Because of that, they have a familiarity with both the way the institution runs and the expectations of the county. I am receiving very little, if any, grievances that are hitting my level from inmates regarding food quality or quantity. As Mr. Bolzoni was mentioning, I think that we compare favorably with other counties that are have vendors that are providing food service. So from my perspective, I have no complaints.
And just to add, so the contract duration was initially 7 years. So the contract was led in August 2018, and the initial period, excluding the 1 year extension, expires August 31st of 2025.
Is the proposed RFP that will go out next year, is that going to be similar in length? Do we even know that yet?
My experience has been that, yeah, we usually will utilize RFPs that are already in place and just edit them to make them up to date. So I would anticipate it'll be the same length, conditions, et cetera, with little tweaks here or there.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bolzoni. And Mr. Jeffers. So, with no other questions, anybody wish to make a motion to review and to recommend approval of the amendment to the agreement for 1 year with Amarmark?
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment to the agreement will be approved. I'm sure you have other financial things to take care of. So you're more than welcome to stay, but we can even make arrangements for overnight accommodations for you. All right, so we get to regular business, to the Controller's report. Mr. DeBillio.
Yes, Your Honor. The Controller's report of the prison inmate and canteen accounts for May of 2025. The Controller's Office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations, which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of April 2025, and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statement. The balance in the inmate account was $474,875.18 as of May 31st, 2025. The balance in the canteen checking account was $592,720.44 as of May 31st of 2025. In addition, as of May 31st, the canteen account also included 2 investments with the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust investment accounts of a total of $947,823.19, which is earning approximately $3,455 per month, and which will mature in July of 2025. Both will mature in July of 2025. During the month of May of 2025, $84,363.07 was paid from the canteen account for the benefit, welfare, and education of Lackawanna County inmates, and an itemized list of those expenses are attached to my report. And besides that, Your Honor, one of the 2 6-month investments will expire on July 11th, which is prior to our next meeting. The balance in that particular investment is $857,064.56 and is earning an annualized rate of 4.4%, maturing on July 11th of 2025. And if we would like to have a motion to continue that investment prior to our next meeting, we'd be happy to do that at whatever the going rate may be at that time.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but do you anticipate any big fluctuations in rates between now and then?
No, it doesn't seem like it's going to be any lower than what it is now. Actually, it may, chances are it may be somewhat higher a little bit prior to now on July 11th.
Okay.
Rates seem to be going back up more recently. And Reggie, what is the current rate, Reggie?
4.37%.
4.37, which is 0.03% lower than what we're currently receiving. So it's going to be right in that ballpark of the current rate. Should be.
Okay. And where is this held?
It's the Pennsylvania Local Government
Oh, it's
Investment
Trust.
Trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody want to make a motion to authorize renewal? Are we talking about 3 months, 6 months? What are we talking about?
We've been doing 6-month periods, Judge,
Okay.
for some time now.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Do I have a second
Second.
on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, so, you know
We'll
what,
handle that.
you know what to do.
Yes,
Okay,
we'll take care of it.
thank you. Okay, Norm, you're back.
We may have to accept the report besides that, Judge. Accept the whole report.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, we may have to, we do have to. So,
Okay.
is there anything else in your report that you?
No, that's it.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept and approve the controller's report.
Motion.
And a second
Second.
on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. DeVillio. Okay. Norm, you're back.
Yes.
The Community Corrections Report. Welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry for my absence there. My business manager is working her way back slowly but surely, so I do not have house arrest figures for you, but I got juvenile and I keep you up to date on the program's completions.
Okay.
Let me do juvenile, just get it all done in one swoop here. Juvenile has $21,154. That's what they brought in right up to date till the end of May, okay? Now, March figures for adult house arrest, we had 160 on the program. Our program's expenses were $70,418.21. Program's completions were 36, the violations were 6, and we still have 3 outstanding warrants for escape. The budget overall, I'll give that one on the last one. April, we had 165 participants in house arrest. Our program's expenses there were $74,042.35. The program's completions were 32. The violations were 11. And then in May, we had 158 participants. $71,295.41 was the program's expenses. The completions were 22, and the program violations were 6, and still outstanding warrants. The budget overall, overtime is at 5%, that's up to May 31st. Expenses are at 40%, and the revenue is at 18%. I don't think it's have it on your paper correctly, but it's at 18% because in January and February, house arrest had some, when I did the report, had some income coming in on it at that point. So that and all the juvenile comes out to 18% right now. And it'll, when I get these, we get them made up for March, April, and May, our revenue is going to be up too. It's going to probably, I'm going to estimate roughly around 41%. It'll be with the expenses close to it. But it's going to take time to get these figures done because she's working her way back. So
Okay.
we have to go through every single person that was on the program, everyone that got released. Some were on the program and released before she even got to even look at it too.
Okay. You anticipate you'll be able to have them by July?
I probably not, Judge. I'm going to say August, but now she's,
Okay.
knock on wood.
Well, give us
she's
what you
coming
have
back, yeah.
in July.
Yeah, and I'll be back again no matter what even if I have to do juvenile. And that's the end of my report.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Maconeghy? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept his report.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
Warden, as the warden steps to the mic, I'll let you know that he has successfully rescinded his notice of intention to retire. So he's as they say, where I grew up, he ain't going nowhere. So we're happy to have him back and, well, to have never left, actually. And so as a result, that mooted out our search for a new warden and the process. So the floor is yours.
All right, I should have worn my black suit so you could have said back in black. But enough quoting AC/DC.
Is an orange the new black?
Yeah, in jail. The average daily population for May was 665 inmates, 519 were county inmates. We averaged 595 adult males, 3 juvenile males, and 67 adult females. The average daily population of U.S. Marshal detainees was 146. Our overtime and out-of-county boarding reports are attached. A staffing update, currently our correctional officer numbers break down to 177 full-timers on shift, 3 out on workers' comp, 0 on continuous FMLA, 85 with intermittent FMLA, 1 on administrative leave, and 1 full-time vacancy for a total of 182 full-time officers. As of May 31st, revenue was at 31% and expenses were at 40%. Extraordinary occurrence reports, there were 8 in the month of May. On 5/9, a male intentionally cut himself and began to violently hit his head against his cell's wall. He was placed in the emergency restraint chair for his safety. On May 13th, during a routine cell search, a male became irate, ran into the day room of the housing unit and began making threatening statements. He then displayed an aggressive stance, showing that he was prepared to start a physical confrontation with staff. A sergeant who was on the scene warned him that he would deploy the OC spray if he didn't stop with his aggressive actions. However, the individual did not, and the sergeant dispensed the burst of OC spray. Staff were then able to safely place him in restraints. On 5/16, staff suspected a male was in possession of contraband and was holding it on his person. While attempting to conduct an unclothed search, this person became non-compliant by kicking at staff and threatening to stab them. A decision was made to place him in the emergency restraint chair for the safety of all involved. Once secured in the chair, staff discovered 4 packages containing a white powder-like substance and a brown leafy substance. On 5/23, a male on a behavioral watch covered his cell's camera with an unknown substance. Staff moved him into another cell so they could clean the substance from the camera and observed the individual pacing back and forth in his cell. Short time later, they observed the individual lying on the floor with what appeared to be blood on his hands. An on-scene sergeant ordered that he be placed in the emergency restraint chair, and staff discovered that he had severely bitten his tongue and cheek. Medical staff then provided him with care. On 5/24, this same male began to bang his head off the cell's floor and then began hitting his head off his cell's window. For the safety of staff, they placed him in the emergency restraint chair. Later that same day, this individual again covered his cell's camera and began to cover the window on his cell's door. He refused to comply with staff's attempts to de-escalate the situation, and a decision was made to once again place him in the emergency restraint chair. On 5/26, a newly committed male began to kick his cell door in our intake area while spitting and screaming at staff. Attempts at de-escalating this person proved futile, and a decision was made to place him in the emergency restraint chair for the safety of everyone involved. On 5/26, the inmate previously mentioned in occurrences 4, 5, and 6 of this report was observed to once again be bleeding. Staff were able to transport him to the medical department without incident. However, while there, he threatened to continue to harm himself. A decision was made to place him in the emergency restraint chair as a preventative measure until he relaxed, and he was temporarily placed on a one-on-one observation with an officer to ensure that he didn't attempt any further self-harm. PREA, there was 1 PREA investigation completed in the month of May. It was an allegation of staff on inmate sexual contact and has been deemed unfounded. The completed investigation has been forwarded to the DA's office for further action if deemed appropriate. And personnel, there are a few matters that should be discussed if the board decides to go into an executive session. And that concludes my report.
Tim, the individual had some repeated placements in the emergency restraint chair. Was there an opportunity there at some point for a psychological evaluation, or?
Yes, there always is. What I don't mention in this, because I'm just doing the reports themselves, I'm only reporting that which is obligated to be reported as an extraordinary occurrence report.
Okay.
Anytime that we use OC spray or there's a placement in the emergency restraint chair, that individual is checked out by our medical department. When you have a case like this where you had, in a matter of 2 days, we had 4 different instances, 5 different, I'm not really sure, with the same individual, that's obviously going to get our attention. It's going to get our medical department's attention. They will have their mental health people addressing him. We frequently will collaborate with the folks from the CMC hospital as well, because they have a significant mental health ward and expertise there.
Right. And that was addressed in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for the warden? Okay. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the warden's report.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Got a second on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. So you want to go into executive session?
Yes, sir. I would like to.
Okay. Well, let's have the public address the board, and then we'll do that, okay? Anybody from the public wish to address the board? Ms. Cummings.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for waiting for us to go on before going to executive session too. I appreciate that. And Warden, glad you stayed. You're an asset to the community, and I'm sorry. So I have everybody here, the DA, Judge, Judiciary, Commissioners, the Sheriff, and in light of all of the angst and protests going on outside in the community over ICE agents, I know in the past we've always cooperated with them, and I just wanted to know what our policy is in regards to ICE agents and getting them notified and keeping them safe from being harmed if anything should happen where they're attacked.
So I can tell you from my perspective, we take any attacks on law enforcement seriously. That includes federal law enforcement and ICE agents. There's this, I guess, perpetual thing going on in the community nationwide where they're alleging that ICE agents aren't law enforcement. They are federal law enforcement. And I can tell you, from my perspective, if anyone attacks a federal law enforcement officer, they'll be investigated and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Sheriff?
I concur with the district attorney 100%.
Thank you very much. Commissioner, any input on what we would be doing for any issues with ICE in our
No,
county?
I don't deal with ICE.
Okay. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate your responses, and I appreciate the fact that you are respecting our law enforcement. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the public wish to address the board?
Hi, my name is Leslie Smith. I speak on behalf of a lot of the female inmate population. I received a letter from an inmate a day after last month's meeting. I didn't get a chance to read it last month, so I'd like to read it now. It says, "To whom it may concern, I am an inmate at Lackawanna County Prison, and this letter is post-state inspection here on this day. Prior to today's inspection, the entire unit was run down on, raided cells, and toilet paper, maxi pads, and color pages that we paid for and sent in by Amazon were ripped off our doors and walls and thrown out. The COs took all the cleaning supplies off the block, which should be available to us, and also informed us that we were not allowed to take showers or we would get a misconduct. The inspection today did not include the inspector going into cells to see the vents that maintenance does not tend to, cells that have mushrooms and mold growing inside them, and multiple cells that have issues with vents and sinks. Also, they failed to notice that the dust-covered ceiling that is the responsibility of maintenance and falls onto our person and food and drinks daily is ignored. The exhaust unit on L block has 2 filters that are not the right ones for the vent itself, and they are stacked, which defeats the purpose of them. These filters were put in place in February of 2025. I also noticed that a woman came onto the block and had an inmate show her how she logged into the tablet and how she accessed the law library on it. Being able to log into it is not our main issue. Our issues are the materials we have access to and not being able to type legal things and not being able to print anything out for our cases. These issues never get addressed. The vents in the showers that are for the moisture and steam to be extracted are full of dust, therefore do not serve their purpose. There are no ladders on the beds, which is a safety issue, especially when the prison has 2 inmates together and either a physical ailment, a weight issue, or age makes it very difficult for an inmate to get on the top bunk. There are several inmates who end up sleeping on floors because of this issue. We ask that these issues be looked into and rectified. Thank you. Also, in response to the Amarmark contract, the food isn't completely horrible. It could be better. However, a lot of inmates would like something else to drink other than these little juice packets. There's no nutritional value in these. It's powdered Kool-Aid. So I've actually saved this. So that would be something that the inmates would like you guys to consider, like giving something other than Kool-Aid. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Warden, is there a procedure for inmates to report maintenance issues or the staff address it?
Yeah, there is. I mean, they could do it as informally as discussing it with the officers. We also have a grievance procedure that's in place. If they wanted to file a grievance, they could do that. And what we do staff-wise is if I'm an officer working the unit and it's a maintenance issue, we have a work order that we would put in and submit to our maintenance department for action.
Ma'am, I would just encourage that person that wrote you to file some sort of maintenance request that the warden just outlined.
Please, as inmates, speak on things and
Okay.
it never gets off the floor. It never goes past the CO.
Okay. As long as maybe if they document it in writing though, maybe it could get addressed that way too. Just another opinion.
Anyone else from the public? Okay, seeing no one, I'll ask you to step outside. We can do our executive session, and then we'll call you back in when we're done. Ready? Okay, so we're back in session, and we have completed discussion of several personnel matters in executive session. So, Warden?
I have a couple items that I'm hoping to get authorization for from the prison board. The first is the hiring of Carissa James as a correctional counselor. Ms. James is coming to us from Outreach with several years of experience there, as well as several years coming into this facility and providing programming treatment to the inmate population. And we think she'd be a really good fit at this facility for full-time correctional counselor. The other thing is I have 2 individuals, 2 names to, we're seeking permission to promote Officer Justin Copa and Officer Mike Esposito to the rank of lieutenant. We've had a couple vacancies over the last, since February, we had 1 vacancy. We had another vacancy occur in, I believe, May, and we're looking to see about promoting those 2 individuals after we put it out to bid, so to speak, and interviewed interested candidates. Those are the 2 that the team came up with.
So do I have a motion to approve the warden's proposals to hire and promote the individuals named?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
I have one more thing, and
Yes.
that was, I won't mention the individual's name, but there was also, we discussed the termination of a full-time correctional officer, and I would be seeking the approval of the board in that motion.
Okay. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, thank you, Warden. Any members have any other business? I have other business. This is my last prison board meeting. I am, as you know, I was selected by my colleagues a couple months ago as president judge. There are not a tremendous number of benefits to being president judge, but one prerogative that I have is to designate a representative from the bench to serve on the prison board. So I have 7 years ago, when I was asked by then President Judge Barres to take this job, I thought I would do him the same favor and ask him. And he heartily and readily accepted. So you're getting someone that is very familiar with the operations of the board, and so I think it'll be up to you if you want to make him chairman, but I would recommend that you do so. But it's been a pleasure serving with all of you and all the others that I've had the privilege to serve with over the years, and so I thank you. And I am signing off, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks for everything.